Alright, hey loves, welcome back to the channel. My name is Taylor. If you're new here, welcome. So in today's video, we're going to be doing something new that I want to start here on my channel is a story time in makeup, and the topics that I would like to explore are things in Black entertainment and pop culture, because those are topics that I just genuinely enjoy learning about on my own time. I also like doing makeup, so I kind of wanted to combine the two. And so for today's topic, we're going to be getting into the messy love triangle between Lil' Kim, Faith Evans, and Biggie. So if you want to hear more about this story and you want to see how I get, my final look, then keep on watching. As mentioned, the important players in this story is Lil' Kim, Faith Evans, and of course Biggie. So for all of you who don't know who Biggie is, which I'm pretty sure if you clicked on this video, you know who he is, and you probably know a little bit about this story, but I just want to talk about some little known facts. So Biggie was a rapper who rose to prominence on the New York hip hop scene in like the late 80s, early 90s. He became signed to Diddy's Bad Boy Records in the early 90s, and he's known for hits such as Juicy, Big Papa, Hypnotize, and One More Chance. He also featured and formed the group Junior Mafia, which was a group of his proteges, or who he considered to be his proteges. Those members included the artists named Bugsy, Capone, Matt Klepto, Chico DeVelk, Nino Brown, Arsony, Tried, Lil C's, and Lil' Kim. So of course the most important name of that group was Lil' Kim, and the group was popular for their songs Get Money and Players Anthem, which, I think only a few members of the group had a verse on each of those records, and Lil' Kim was notably one of those people. So now, speaking of Lil' Kim, we shall segue into that relationship. Biggie was starting off his rap career. He met another aspiring rapper by the name of Kimberly Denise Jones. Now it's important to note that I actually kind of am like a part of the beehive a little bit for Kim, because I really do like him. I'm really a fan of hers. No bias will be used in this story. I'm simply just reporting, I'm simply just stating the facts. First met Lil' Kim while she was in a rap battle. Biggie was somebody that was like a hustler, but then he really had like an art, like a natural talent for rapping and telling stories through rap. So he sometimes like frequented the streets and would rap on the streets and would battle people, because back then it was more about freestyling. So that's something Biggie was big about. Biggie was big. He was big on freestyling. He did it a lot himself, and he frequented the corner where he met Kim all the time to do his own rapping, or I wouldn't say to scout talent necessary, but he was just out there all the time because that was the place to be. So while he was, frequenting that corner where he was rapping, after he had gotten signed and stuff like that, this is when he ran into Kim, who was doing her thing, and she was battle rapping. They met on a block called Fulton Street, I believe, in the neighborhood Bed-Stuy. Kim was already like in a random rap battle, and so then he asked her, hey, you want to rap for me? Like, you was pretty good back there. I want to hear what you got. She raps for him. She freestyles straight off the dome, and he's immediately impressed by her rap skills, because she has kind of like this boyish flow to her, but this girlish charm, this cute little face, plus she's little. So he's like immediately, he loves the dichotomy of her style, and he's enamored, and he invites her immediately to join the Junior Mafia group. It's also important to note here that when he met Kim after she was rapping and he invited her to join the Junior Mafia group, that he was still with his baby mother. His first baby mother's name was Jan Jackson, and they had dated in high school, and they ended up having a baby together. And so he was kind of like trying to, I guess, be a family unit, and that was his first child, and he was trying to make things work, but clearly Big Papa had an issue with monogamy. He didn't care nothing about Jan once he met Kim. He was like, I'm trying to get with Shorty. The two began a relationship after meeting, and they entered into what someone said was a very unhealthy balance of business and pleasure, essentially. Biggie was super duper involved in Kim's career, her look, the way she sounded when she rapped. He would often drop by her studio sessions, and if not give her critiques, sometimes I guess give her suggestions on what she should say. He had a lot of control over her image. Specifically, he really wanted her to appeal to the side chick of America, but not just any kind of side chick. He wanted her to be the face of side chicks to drug dealers, someone who was like in the streets and collected an abundant amount of money from doing illegal activity. That is like specifically what he wanted Kim to appear as. And if you ever listen to Lil' Kim, especially her first album, Hardcore, you'll hear some of that influence in her rhymes when she's talking about different sexual experiences, and how she gets a Mercedes for doing certain things and just for keeping it on the low, and he better have this money. It's like, what other kind of man's gonna have that money if he's not doing illegal activity? Like, people would say that Biggie wanted her to degrade herself for the sake of money, for the sake of fame, and that's the way he might have viewed her as well. But it honestly worked if you if you know what I'm saying. Like, she's here now and she made her impact. Both sources to the two would describe him as a Svengali and Kim as his loyal concubine. I won't say there was nothing this man couldn't do that was wrong in her eyes, because clearly she was a human, she had feelings, but essentially she was completely enamored by Biggie, and she was 100% comfortable with him taking over her image, for helping her out. They developed this relationship. They also confirmed that the two had a very, very violent relationship. So it's important to note here that, like, there are some stories circulating that Biggie and Kim might have entered into a relationship when she was just 16 years old. So she was very much so impressionable. The two had a very violent relationship, much so that when Kim became pregnant with his child, she decided to terminate it because she felt like there's no way I could raise a child in a violent relationship between us. It's also important to note that Kim herself kind of came from a violent household, witnessing violence between, I think, her mother and her father. She also attempted to stab her father once with a pair of scissors. She knew that that was not the appropriate time for her to be bringing a child into the world with just the nature of her relationship. Plus, she was trying to achieve fame. 2017 in particular, super producer, and I guess he's a mogul, I don't know, for Jermaine Dupri, he did confirm in like a specific violent interaction between Kim and Biggie. He was in the studio with Jermaine Dupri and a young Usher at the time. They were working on music. He recalled in this specific interview a time where Biggie came to Kim's studio session with Jermaine Dupri and Usher, and Biggie pulled out a gun on Kim and proceeded to choke her. So the story goes is that Kim was very upset with Biggie. He had allegedly slept with her sister. He not only like slept with her sister, he like bragged about it in one of his songs. He says in his lyrics that your best friend asked for $400, what you gonna do for these $400? When a lot of times when rappers rap, they're just rapping about their life, and where do you think they get their inspiration from? Things that happen in their everyday life. So naturally, Kim was pissed off about this because he just was not valuing her as a person and her feelings. Jermaine Dupri also went on to say that, like, not only did he choke her, he choked her until she passed out. Kim maintained that like what he said was true. They did have a violent interaction. Kim did confirm that it was about someone she was close to. She didn't say it was her sister in particular, but she did say it was someone that she was close to that Biggie had relations with. And it was like, dang, that is messed up, sis. You do not deserve that. You did not deserve to be with this man. And some might even say that she just continued to deal with it because he was putting her on, essentially. She thanked him a lot in her first album for, you know, taking her off the streets, and because she was apparently temporarily homeless at one point. She probably just honestly felt like she owed her life and her career and everything that was happening to him, so she just continued to take his abuse. Another incident told by Kim's former manager about the two and their violent relationship was that a group of girls once stormed into Kim's recording session, and when she asked, like, you know, hey, who told you could be here? The girls responded, Biggie told us we could be here. So Kim is like pissed off about this, so she begins, her and her manager begins fighting these women. Because, you know, naturally it's like she felt like they were probably trying to like throw that in her face, and the fact that they're not exclusive and things like that, and that basically he just didn't give a F that he was willing to mess with her in that way. Research that I did didn't necessarily say what could have provoked it, but honestly, is there any rational excuse for why somebody has to be this evil to somebody? Now, I'm not here to tarnish the man's name or his brand, just saying that, you know, everybody has characteristic flaws, and it's just unfortunate he was not able to deal with them before he passed. So Kim and her manager began fighting these women, and things just apparently escalate even further when Biggie shows up to this recording session, and he begins fighting Kim physically in an elevator. They began fighting in an elevator, escalating downwards as they were in the building that the recording studio was. So kind of ambushes Kim, but he also just beats her. Beats her for what? Kim and Biggie would continue like seeing each other on and off, having this violent relationship despite how like madly in love she was with him. And I'm not saying they didn't have a passionate relationship, because she's always spoken very highly of him. So they would continue to do that for years. He would continue to develop relationships simultaneously as they were seeing each other, as they were being intimate, as they were recording music together, and that would unfortunately go on to the day that he passes away. Now we're moving on to the next part of this love triangle, and that is Biggie's relationship with none other than Faith Evans. Biggie and Faith Evans were apparently known as hip-hop royalty. Biggie and Faith got married in 1994 after only knowing each other for 8 days, and that is quick. I saw a quote that when Cardi B and Offset got married, that hood love either goes super fast or it doesn't last. So Biggie and Faith, they were both label mates at Diddy's Bad Boy Records. They had met originally at a promo photo shoot, I'm guessing, for the label. And then one day Biggie needed a ride back to Brooklyn, and so she gave him a ride because she had the means of transportation, and that's where they bonded apparently. Faith says that she was immediately attracted to Biggie. What she was most attracted to about him was how confident he was. And I mean, from the research that I've done, he did seem like he was like he was just sure of himself, no matter what. So, you know, I guess Miss Fizzy. He was a rapper, obviously she was a singer, and the two would collaborate on songs together. In fact, you can hear her vocals in the background of his song One More Chance. Just as fast as the relationship began and they were all super in love, and he was like, you know, claiming her, doing promotional photo shoots together, the relationship apparently started to like fizzle really fast. According to reports, the main reason for their marital issues or their quickly dissolving relationship was Biggie's infidelity. Go figure. I told y'all he had an issue with monogamy. I told y'all, but y'all don't even know the half of it. Even when Biggie got married, he was still with Lil' Kim. You could have guessed that. He was still with Lil' Kim. They toured together all the time. Him having formed Junior Mafia and her being a part of the group, her also being a solo artist, her also just doing any and everything that Diddy told them to do. They were together all the time, and even though he would be exclusively with Faith, he and Kim never stopped seeing each other because they just had this chemistry and they worked together. I'm sure that Faith was hearing rumors about the relationship, but I'm also sure that Biggie was trying to like keep things cool. Probably told her quite often like, oh ma, you ain't gotta worry about that, don't worry about Kim, it's you and me. What Biggie tried to do was actually conceal the affair. So what he told Kim to do, now he orchestrated this, he orchestrated for Kim to ask Faith to be a mentor to her, and to help her with her image, especially as relates to the music industry. Just to paint a picture that wasn't clear. So he tells Kim, you know, have her be this mentor to her, help her boost her confidence, which I'm like, I don't know, I kind of would have been pissed. Like, what the heck you mean boost my confidence? Like, I don't have confidence messing around with you. Kim and Faith are getting close because Faith is under this impression that Kim genuinely wants a mentor-mentee relationship with her, and that's why she keeps coming around, and that's why she's coming to their home, and this, that, and the third. Like, it's kind of getting messy at this point. So that is until, of course, Faith finds out about the affair. I don't know the timeline on this, but I do know that on one of Biggie's songs, on one of his albums, I think he actually only had 2 albums, but I don't know which one it is, but there is one album where there is like a recording of him and Kim having sexual intercourse as the interlude to the song. So it's kind of like, Faith, you had to know that the two were sleeping with each other. You had to know this, but I'm guessing you were so in love you decided to look past it. I don't know, y'all. Like I'm saying, I don't know if that's on like, you know, his first or second album while they were still married, before they got married. Either way, like, I would have did my research, me personally, and be like, this the artist that you told me that you want me to mentor, but y'all are having sex on this track. Naturally, Faith found out about the affair and she's pissed. Like, who wouldn't be pissed? You know what I'm saying? And that is like the final straw, because he had this woman, no disrespect to Kim, but he had this woman all in her face smiling, talking about, will you be my mentor, will you help me be like you, just for them to actually be sleeping around the entire time. So it's crazy. Well, he not only had an affair with Kim, he also began having an affair with another rapper in the industry as well. So this man just really loves singers and rappers. He really wanted to keep it in the entertainment industry. Also began having an affair with a rapper by the name of Charlie Baltimore. Now, I don't know if you all are familiar with Charlie Baltimore, and I don't want to get too much into her because she's not a main player. She's just like a vital part of Faith's story, if you will. So he began having an affair with her. She was a rapper based in Philly. The two actually met at a show in Philly. She came backstage to take pictures of him, or asked her for a picture, and instead he wanted to take a picture of her. And that's just somehow how their relationship blossomed. And so while I guess him and Faith were going through it, because she was trying to decide if she wanted to deal with lying and cheating, he decides to entertain, or just full out date this woman and date her. Not only just like date her, like he's public with her. He's going around different places like, this is my girl, meet my girl. All the while, he's still married to Faith and he's still in a relationship with Kim. Not only were they public despite the relationships he had going on at the time with these women, he also had her starring in the video to his song with Junior Mafia, Get Money. Biggie actually wanted Faith instead of Charlie Baltimore to star in the video because the lyrics were actually inspired by an actual event that took place between the two. In the song, Biggie says something like, kicking the door, waving the 4-4, all you hear is Papa don't hit me no more. I think that's how it goes. I'm gonna be really embarrassed when I put up these lyrics and it doesn't match what I said. But essentially, he's talking about, you know, domestic violence in that song. He's talking about beating a woman with a gun, with that thing, because she betrayed his trust. She apparently like went to the feds on him. I don't think that Faith did that in particular, but maybe she did something that he felt betrayed by. And so he wrote that in the song, and he wanted Faith to star in it, despite the fact that he wrote that about her. And he tried really hard, despite everybody around him being like, hey yo, Big, that's not a good idea. He's like, I don't care, I'm the boss around here, that's what I want to do, I want her in the video. So she declines. As an act of vengeance, he goes and gets Charlie Baltimore to star in the video, and what he tells people is that he specifically wanted a Faith look-alike. So that's how you know it was a vengeance. And if you don't know what she looks like, I'm definitely gonna have a picture of the two, but she's a light-skinned woman. She's a light-skinned woman just like Faith, but I don't think they look alike, but I could see where his headspace was. Yeah, I had to finish doing eye looks and everything, but I'm going to finish all the rest of the face and finish telling the story. He was going to choose violence at this Get Money video shoot. He was going to have his main chick, I hate to say it, his side chick and his ongoing relationship with Kim, essentially. It really did put a strain on her and Biggie's relationship. They weren't the same after that. You know, he did multiple interviews saying that he felt like they just moved too fast. However, one last Christmas that they spent together, they were trying to reconcile their relationship, but it didn't last, essentially because they kept on having the same old issues with infidelity and stuff like that. But Faith knew he was still seeing people. He was not going to be faithful. However, they did end up conceiving that Christmas night that they spent together, and she got pregnant with his son. Yeah, his one and only son, I think. But however, I don't know what kind of beef Biggie and her went through, because that whole announcement was not met with any kind of cheeriness. He was actually publicly denying the paternity of the child. He was saying that, you know, that's not his child, it could be anybody. Also, at the time, to make matters a little bit worse, Faith kind of did get remarried around that time, so he was like, yeah, that's not my child, but actually it was his child. They had conceived the child before she had gotten married to somebody else. It's also important to note, around this time, Biggie and Tupac had began their, unfortunately, fatal beef with one another, and Faith was kind of caught up in the middle of that. It had been rumors that Faith flew to LA, that she got, I guess, slept with Tupac. Now this is all alleged, and there was like a picture released of the two of them hanging out, and she seemed to kind of be like in a drunken state. There's also claims that like she had purchased him gifts, all kinds of things. So it only came out after, of course, Tupac had mentioned in his diss towards Biggie that you claim to be a player, but your wife. So that is one of the reasons why he publicly denied that she was pregnant with his son. It was just a very messy situation, and they unfortunately were not ever on like the best of terms, even leading up to his final days. Also during Biggie's marriage, and just to add a little bit more sauce to this story, let's just say Biggie also interacted with Wendy Williams. Now to some this comes as a complete and total shock, because we're used to the Wendy Williams we see now. But however, prior to Wendy Williams, I guess, going through some physical changes with her appearance, and also some health changes that are related to her physical appearance, she was really pretty. She was a stunning woman, and she was really successful in the radio industry, specifically in the New York market. This is how the story goes between Biggie and Wendy Williams. So Biggie once had an interview at the radio station that Wendy Williams worked at. If you all don't know, she was really big in radio, had one of the top stations. She was that girl back then. Everybody wanted to get close to her to get their records played on the radio station. So Biggie had an interview, and I don't know, it's unclear whether they interviewed together. However, according to Wendy, Biggie would wait for her one particular evening after she got off of her shift. He then asked her on a date. The two of them met up at a place called Shark Room. Wendy said that she just strictly wanted to get, like, you know, some exclusive juicy information on the Bad Boy artist and some of his label mates, whereas she said that she could tell he actually liked her, like he actually wanted this to be like a thing. This is according to Wendy. As they were waiting for their private booth to be prepared, that they held hands the entire time. I know for a lot of people it is very hard to imagine that story being true. I don't think Wendy's lying. I think there's some truth to it. I think that a lot of rappers were really attracted to Wendy back in the day. I think a lot of people were attracted to her for that reason, because she was a powerful woman in radio. Like, you needed radio plays to be successful, for the people to hear your music. And that's what Wendy offered. She said once that she was seated with Biggie, she did learn that unfortunately he was married. And years later, she would apologize to Faith for having entertained Biggie or went out with him knowing that he was married. So in her defense, she said she didn't know until like they went on the date together, and she never meant to do that as someone who was a married woman who also has gone through a public affair. She maintains that they only had one date and they never had any kind of intimate relationship or anything of that nature, just strictly one ordeal. We prepare to conclude, you know, the two ladies leading up to Biggie's death, unfortunately, were actually not on good terms with him. Kim stated in previous interviews that her and Biggie had issues over a professional matter, which led to them, you know, not really on, you know, good speaking terms. However, he did call her like a week or so before he passed away. He told her how he loved her and how she was a beautiful person inside and out. On Faith's end, in terms of her last interactions with Biggie, she said that, you know, they both saw each other at a party like literally the day before he unfortunately was gunned down. He didn't want to speak. She had a lot of pride, and he didn't speak either. However, he sent someone from his entourage to speak to her, and she returned the message back by that same person saying hello. So she says that was closure for her. Since then, the two ladies have reconciled, and they do just agree, you know, in honor of Biggie's legacy, to just get along, to, you know, show love to one another, and, you know, just let the past be the past. So that weekend, Faith was in LA when Biggie got shot. She heard of the shooting. She actually rushed to the hospital to be by his side. She identified the body and she planned the funeral. So unfortunately, her and Biggie did not get to like the place where they should have been, you know, with him being the mother of her child, but things happen. That is it for the story on the messy love triangle between Biggie, Faith, and Lil' Kim. If you like this video and you want to see more, because I have more topics I want to discuss as well that are definitely going to be more of like a storyline as opposed to like little pieces of information here and there. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below, don't forget to subscribe. Also follow your girl on social media at Loraine. I love you. Stay beautiful and stay safe.